Ladies and gentlemen, the purported leader of the free world.
Comprehensive package of that will enhance our underlying effort to accommodate the Russian oligarchs and make sure we take their ill-begotten gains. We're going to accommodate them. We're going to seize their yachts, their luxury homes, and other ill-begotten gains of Putin's kleptocracy. Kleptocracy and the guys who are the kleptocracies.
Well, if it's any consolation to Joe Biden fans, nothing else works in Washington. Nothing. He is merely emblematic of American decrepitude, not a freak exception in an otherwise crackerjack capital. As you just heard from Polly, yesterday we had another example. What would be a staggering breach of operational norms in a functional polity, but not apparently in the District of Columbia. The U.S. Supreme Court is currently considering an abortion case and would, in the normal course of events, announce its decision at the end of term in a couple of months' time. Instead, someone leaked the court's ruling, leaked the court's decision. It was leaked because that guy we just saw, that Joe Biden guy there, has sinking approval numbers deep into Jimmy Carter territory. Everything he touches turns to, well, you know what. But between inflation and open borders, Omicron and Afghanistan, actual enthusiasm for Joe Biden is all but statistically undetectable, and the Republicans seem pretty confident they're set for a landslide in the November midterms. How do you prevent that? Well, get the Democrat base all ginned up about something. That's hard to do when they're running everything into the ground. But the landmark Roe versus Wade abortion decision of half a century back is sacramental for many Democrat women. It overrides everything else. As Time magazine's White House correspondent Nina Burley put it during the Monica Lewinsky days, I'd be happy to give Bill Clinton a bleep job just to thank him for keeping abortion legal. I think American women should be lining up with their presidential knee pads to show their gratitude for keeping the theocracy off our backs. Whether Democrat women are as enthused about getting out their presidential knee pads for Joe Biden, the Supreme Court may be enough to get them to the polls and prevent an electoral catastrophe. Even if it doesn't, it's already got the mob seething outside the courthouse. In that sense, it's all designed to pressure the 5 judges who are apparently on board with overturning Roe versus Wade and lean on one of them to change his or her mind. That's to say, it's no different from judge or jury nobbling in organised crime trials. But it's disturbing to see it applied to the highest court in the land. The leak of a full decision has never happened before in the Supreme Court's history. Was it a politically active law clerk? Unlikely that a clerk would do that independently, because he or she, if caught, would never work in the legal profession again, even in America. So it's more likely that it was done on the initiative of one of the judges, and lots of folks are speculating it may well be Sonia Sotomayor, who is by far the most political of these supposed genius jurists. The unimpressive Chief Justice John Roberts has called for an FBI investigation. Yeah, right, that's the most lavishly funded corrupt police agency on the planet, from the Russia investigation to the Trump investigation to some fake-o plot they cooked up to kidnap a Democrat governor and blame it on right-wing militia. These straight-shooting G-men at the FBI couldn't shoot straight at the world's biggest barn door. Like I said, everything in Washington, from coppers to courts, has now been hollowed out by decay and decadence. So that's why this leak happened. The Democrats need something, and their box of tricks is empty. But this is a further degeneration in functioning political norms. And once you have Supreme Court decisions being leaked in full, there's not a lot left. As to the jurisprudence itself, well, this is about a woman's right to choose. And given that the newest judge on this court feels unqualified to say what a woman is on the grounds that she's not a biologist. She has the touch. She has a touch of the Keir Starmer about this. She flees in terror at the mere mention of a bepenist woman. I don't see how you can decide what a woman's right to choose is if you can no longer decide what a woman is. So even that old phrase, which always worked so well for Democrats, feels a little cobweb now. But this decision, if permitted by the mob to stand, doesn't ban abortion. It simply says all 50 states get to decide their own abortion laws, in the same way that the United Kingdom's 3 separate legal regimes decide their own abortion laws. Number 1 for the Anglo-Welsh, number 2 for Northern Ireland, and number 3 for Scotland. I appreciate that UK Conservatives have zero interest in so-called social conservatism, or indeed fiscal conservatism, or any other kind of conservatism these days. I once had lunch with Boris Johnson, who'd been booked on the BBC's Question Time that evening, and he asked me if I had any suggestions as to what he should say. And I told him to put in a word for social conservatism just to wind everybody up. And Boris shuddered and said, "You mean abortion? Good God, no." But even by British standards, America is the abortion mill of the Western world. It's aborted some 62 million babies, including disproportionate numbers of poor black babies since Roe versus Wade was decided. That's the equivalent of wiping out the entire population of the United Kingdom. If you don't have any moral objections to that, well, there are utilitarian ones. When you slaughter fetuses on that scale, you wreck your fertility rate and become more dependent on mass immigration. So in the fullness of time, it's not a choice between babies and no babies. It's between your babies and Somali babies. They're the babies you didn't have. That's the Western world. The present war on the continent, on the other hand, is being waged by 2 Eastern European nations with among the highest abortion rates on the planet. In Russia, approximately 1 in 2 babies is aborted, which is why Putin has insufficient soldiers on hand to stomp all over Ukraine. Only in America, however, has abortion become a talisman, a touchstone of left-wing virtue, so that even as I speak, tons of Hollywood actresses from Sharon Stone to Ashley Judd to Jennifer Lawrence will be taking to Twitter to insist that this is the end of the world as we know it. And whoever's waggling the dead husk of a moth-eaten sock puppet that is Joe Biden is hoping that even a sock puppet can attract presidential knee pads on a Tuesday in November.